So I'm going to use 12 by 12 sheet MDF panel gesso. This is from Brustro Artist Gesso to coat this entire layer. We use gesso so that oil painting on top sticks better to the panel. To do that, I'm going to use a couple of palette knives size 1 and 3, as you can see. I'm going to use a roller so that we get rough texture. Because this is a white gesso, I'm going to use a brown acrylic paint. You can use any brand. I'm using this from a local art store. I'm going to mix these two and we'll see how we apply it on the panel. You can see that I've already used up quite a lot for my previous paintings. Take some of the gesso directly onto the panel. You can mix it separately. This is just the first coating. So you take the amount of gesso accordingly. On top of it, I'll take some brown acrylic paint so that it gives you more like a earthen tone. What we're going to do is now mix it very well. It doesn't have to be any particular color. It can be anything you like to work on, right? So I like this tone so that it shows your whites and blacks better than other colors. It is just a personal preference. Add some water to it so that it doesn't dry before I have the chance to apply it throughout. With this, a larger palette knife, I'm going to spread it across. So you can spread it across the panel. It doesn't have to be very much even. Just try your best to apply it evenly. Okay, so I've applied the gesso all over. You can see some areas are missed here, which is fine. We're going to use this roller and we're going to roll it all over the panel. You see why I have used the newspapers. You tend to roll off the panel and then the surface you're working on can get stained. So just make sure that you don't see any pattern. So this is just the first coating. Once you're done with this and when it is dry to touch, you can continue with your second or third coating. Once the panel was completely dry after applying the gesso, I have made a basic sketch of the painting which I'm going to do with a simple super dark pencil. So this sketch doesn't have to be very accurate. I'll try to flash the completed painting somewhere on the screen so that you can relate to how this sketch will look towards the end. To start with, I'm going to use this palette. I have made this palette out of a sheet. Let me know if you want to know how I made this. So the first thing you have to decide is from where are you actually going to start your painting, right? So it has to be the farthest point. So in our painting, it will be the wall. Behind this walls, we'll start with the wall. Let me show you how we mix the colors. So let's get started. Before we start mixing the colors, I wanted to show you the different types of mediums that are available, which you can use for oil paintings. Like to start with, there is distilled turpentine. I usually use it to clean my brushes. This also can be used as a medium, and it also helps in drying the paint faster. Then there is linseed oil. This is also a good medium to mix your colors, but then it takes its own time to dry. That's the reason I do not use it. You can see that I have hardly used any. I want my paints to dry faster. Then the next one is Liquin Original. This is my favorite and I've already used up one bottle, and this is second which I'm using. This really helps in drying the paint faster. Also it gives a really good texture to your mix, and I like that. Then there is Liquin Fine Detail. If you compare it with Liquin Original, right, you can see that this is a bit thinner than the Liquin Original, and I use it for painting fine lines like grasses, or a very fine line where you want to separate the two objects, right? So those are the places where I use Liquin Fine Detail. Then there is Galkit from Gamblin. This is similar to how Liquid Fine Detail works. So these are quite similar. So they all have almost same drying time. These are all the mediums you can use, and like I mentioned, Liquid Original is something I'm going to use for this painting as well. So let's start mixing the paint. I've added ivory black, titanium white, and French ultramarine on the palette, and like I mentioned earlier, the Liquid Original as a medium to mix them. So we're going to mix the farthest paint on the wall. This is the darkest. We're going to mix the color for this space, and then gradually start adding titanium white to the lighter places. I'm going to start with titanium white. This is a size 1 round brush I'm using to mix the colors. I'll start with this and a little bit of French ultramarine, and add in a lot of ivory black. I'll keep on adding ivory black until we get the right color. A little bit more. Okay, so to give it that blue tinge, I'll add some French ultramarine. I think this is dark enough. We don't want to make it too dark. And then I'll add some medium. Let's put it on the canvas now. I'm going to add in a little bit of dioxazine purple to bring in a little bit of warmth. As the scene gets a little lighter from here, I'll add a little bit of white. And you keep blending between these shades as it goes from darker to light. Make sure they are very smooth. This way you keep adding titanium white. As we are moving closer to the window here, so there is some light coming in from the window. So what I have done is, to the same mixture you mixed earlier, I have added a little bit of yellow ochre along with the titanium white, so to make it lighter and to give it a little bit of warmth. So what I'm going to now do is show you how I mix these two shades, the darker one and the lighter one, to make it into a whole smooth transition. Okay, let me show you how I do that. So we'll pick a fan brush. Any soft fan brush will do. This is a soft fan size 4 with a crisscross motion starting from the middle. Don't worry if it overlaps and comes on top of the vase. With the crisscross motion you move slightly to the darker side. You will see that the color blends very well with a soft brush. Do it with a very light hand. Don't put any pressure at all. Now you see that it has blended really well. Now we'll continue with this area. For the extreme left side, from where the light from window is shining on the wall back here, mix a little bit of yellow ochre to the same mixture so that it has a lot of warmth. I'll show you how I do that. So I'll start with some liquid original. I'll add a bit of ivory black, titanium white, gray, and to make this mixture warm we add yellow ochre. It looks more yellow now, so you gradually keep adding ivory black and then titanium white. So I'm going to add some burnt sienna to it. Let's apply this paint on the extreme left side of our painting. Now you see that there is a lot of difference between the tone we have added here and the one we earlier mixed. So what we are going to do to merge these two is I'm going to create a light, very thin mix of the same shade, and then slowly and gradually add it onto this layer. We'll do that later. Okay, for the brightest spot here, light coming in from the window, right? So I have added titanium white and a little bit of ivory black and burnt umber. We'll first paint only the brightest spot and then merge it with the shadows. Do it with very soft hand, don't push it too hard. For this area we'll mix ivory black and French ultramarine along with titanium white. It's looking a bit dark. I'll add some more titanium white. Now you see how to differentiate. So sometimes the color you mix looks exactly right, but then when you put it on the canvas you see that this color is similar to how we painted the background, right? So it is pretty dark. So I'm going to add some more titanium white to it. I think we can work with this. To start painting the walls, we'll start with the darkest places. So if you can see on the finished painting, this place is the darkest, and so we'll slowly start adding titanium white as we move towards the area where the light is hitting. So here I have taken liquid original. That's how I always mix my paints, and to that we'll add ivory black, and because this side has some warmth to it, I'm going to add burnt sienna. Okay, now let's add titanium white. Okay, now it's reaching there. Let's start painting. With a size 0 round brush, I'm going to start painting this area, slowly making sure that it doesn't go into the background. So I'm using a round brush size 10 to smooth the highlight and shadow areas, to blend it basically. So just dab it very lightly, just dab and drag, go from light area to the dark, clean your brush in between if you are coming back to the lighter areas. So I'm using a paper towel to clean it. See how smooth it blends. For the inside of the walls, I'm mixing a similar color what we did for this part, but that is going to be a little bit warmer. So what I'm going to do is I have mixed in burnt sienna, burnt umber and ivory black along with little bit of liquid, and then I'm going to add white to it. So you see that it is going to be more warmer than the earlier mix we did. So I'm going to add some more ivory black to it. I think this is the color we want. Moving on to paint the pattern on the surface with a mechanical pencil, I have drawn the basic sketch of the pattern so that it gets easier for us to paint on this pattern. So to do that, I have mixed French ultramarine and ivory black to create this mixture along with liquid as a medium. I have made it this dark to paint it in the shadow areas. So once we move on to the area where the light is shining, we'll make it lighter by adding titanium white. I think I'll shift to a rigger brush. Have added some more titanium white to make it lighter. So I'm still using the size 0 round brush. I wanted to bring your attention to this part here, the place where you can see the shadow of this ball showing. This is a very complex situation. Okay, so what we can see here is there is a soft shadow from the ball on the surface, and then there is a part of shadow from the window on the left, the one you are seeing here, and then there is some refracted light bouncing off of the walls. Okay, so if you see this area, so I have painted some part of it, but I wanted to stop and explain to you how you paint such complex situations. So on this part here, along with titanium white, ivory black, and French ultramarine, I've made this mixture. And for coming to the part where you can see the shadow from the ball, what I have mixed here is the same thing, same mixture like I mentioned, ivory black, French ultramarine, and titanium white. But then here I have mixed in ivory black in uh, a little more quantity. Okay, so that it basically turns into a bluish gray. Okay, all right. So let us continue painting this part. So if you can see how different is this mixture from the one here. This is very light, and then more quantity of French ultramarine in that mixture, but this is basically bluish gray. Now that we are done with this part, how do you decide which part to choose next for painting? So this particular part where there is a ball on and the cherries on it is our main subject, and we'll have to see anything that is touching that part, or anything that is behind our main subject should be painted first. Now that we are done with the vase and the shadow, because it is lying behind the main subject. So next part would be to paint this fabric here on the left. And to paint the fabric, the approach you are going to pick is start with the shadow area. So all these lines I have made, these are all the shadow areas. I'm going to mix burnt umber and a little bit of ivory black to tone it down. The ivory black helps you tone down any color. And then mix titanium white. I think this looks about right. Let us tone it down a little bit more. We'll go ahead and paint the shadows now.
You can watch the full time-lapse video of this painting. I'll leave a link on top right corner of this video.
paint this entire surface of the table where sunlight is directly shining on, instead of using titanium white right out of the tube, I have mixed in a little bit of ivory black and burnt sienna into it, so that it gives a little bit of warmth to the color. And it is my practice that I never use any primary color directly out of the tube onto the canvas, unless it is very highlights like on top of a cherry, which we will see next. I never use the primary colors right out of the tube. So I have mixed this, and because this is a big surface to be painted right from here to this place, I'm using a flat brush, size 2. You can use any brush, because it is a larger surface. I'm using size 2 brush. I'm just being careful that I don't paint very close to the shadows, because we have to blend highlight and the shadow. So I'll be doing that with a smaller brush. I have decided that I'll use the same brush because it has soft bristles. I'll use the same brush to blend the shadow and highlight. Just make soft strokes with no pressure at all. Finally, we start painting the cherries in the ball. To start with the shadow areas of the cherries, I have mixed in alizarin crimson along with ivory black and burnt umber to create this mix. So let's start painting the shadow areas. Again, I'm using a size 0 round brush. I have added a little bit of Windsor lemon and titanium white to make it bright red, and we will try and merge these two colors. We are left with the final cherry. I stopped here so I could show you how to mix the colors in the right way and show you the complete demo for this one. For the darker areas, take some alizarin crimson. This is a really powerful color. I'm going to add ivory black in it. This should suffice, but then to tone it down a little bit, I'm going to mix burnt umber. You see that it does tone it down a little bit. Let me mix some more alizarin crimson To this color I will mix some liquid original, and I think we have the right color for the darker areas. Moving on to mix the lighter colors, I'm going to mix in cadmium red along with alizarin crimson. You see how lighter and vibrant this color is compared to our previous mixture, right? This color would be the right mix for the lighter shades.
Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the like button if you like the video. Also follow me on Instagram for regular updates.
I'm using a round brush size 1. I have mixed in French ultramarine and dioxazine purple along with some ivory black. So I'll start with the darkest area on the right. When you mix in dioxazine purple and French ultramarine, the color becomes dark by itself. But to tone it down, I have added some ivory black. Otherwise, it looks very contrast. This is a dark blue and dark purple kind of porcelain, so there will be a lot of reflections and it's going to be interesting.
Please share your valuable feedback in the comment box below. That will definitely help me make better videos in future. Thank you so much for watching the video till the end. I'll see you in the next one. Please subscribe to my channel and click on this video if you'd like to watch a landscape painting.